Welcome, everybody, to Strangest Species Season 2, Episode 31. I'm your host, Mike Davis, here with your co-host, Anthony Davis, across the way.
Hello, hello.
Way over there.
Way
on the other side of the table. How are you tonight?
Oh, so good.
Well, good. That's a good way to be.
Yeah. No complaints. Sunshine all around. It's been sunshine for days. So
We have a lot of sunshine. Very cold, but very happy cold.
yeah, it's kind of like my youth winters. I mean, growing up, that's how our winters are, so cold, but sunny.
Nothing like my winters growing up.
I know. Like polar opposites.
Mm-hmm. I'm a desert baby.
And I'm a Calgarian baby.
Snow baby.
A snow baby. But I can tell you, as an older person, I will be like a lot of Canadians. And for January, February, March, they go a lot longer than that. But a lot of them is like half the year. But for at least January, February, March, I'm going to be somewhere magical when
Disneyland.
I'm older.
Not that magical.
No, that's too magical.
That's too magical. Just like Phoenix.
Like San Diego.
Gotcha.
Or Arizona. Yeah.
I see what kind of magic you're talking about.
Florida, even.
You go to Las Vegas, and it'd be magic and magic. More magic, and there's actual magicians.
No, Vegas isn't on my radar.
No, not Vegas?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Whatever you say.
So I'll be like, or maybe Mexico.
Mexico. I like Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah, my patient's mom, I guess the old lady's mom was leaving for her house in Mexico right after she took her mom to this dental appointment. And she's like, oh, we live there for half the year. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that too.
Yeah. I got a lot of patients that have
That do
houses
that.
down there.
Yeah. Yeah. So hers is like halfway between the Baja, like the point thing that runs down.
All right. Baja.
So halfway between that, if you're looking at like a map.
Right.
She gave me the name, but I was like, I've never even been to that spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of, not that patient's Canadian, but there's a ton of Canadians.
Oh, she said they're literally adopted Canadians. There's 95%.
Maybe you
Canadian.
were the one telling me about it.
That probably was me. Yeah.
No.
Or her herself. So anyway, I was thinking, this is the life. That's the way you should live when you're old and retired.
Yo-ho, yo-ho.
Mm-hmm.
Mexican life for me.
Yeah.
Not a pirate's life.
Just somewhere warm-ish.
It's definitely warmish in Mexico.
Yeah.
I still have a watch tan from being there 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. Proud of it.
You should be proud of it.
So, if you can't notice, there's a podcast out right now.
If you can't notice?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're listening to one right now. But we weren't supposed to be here this week. But I'm just all over the map.
Well, wait, what?
Because we released one last week. So technically we're supposed to be off this week.
But we're pre-recording.
But we're kind of pre-recording because Anthony and I will be gone next week.
But we're not posting it on Tuesday.
Oh, we're not going to post on a Tuesday.
No.
Oh, okay. Just kidding. This is the right time then, everybody.
Yeah, it's just we're really early.
Oh, I see.
Because we're out of town when we're supposed to do it.
Gotcha.
Can you preset it?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So everyone listening, this will be at the normal time. That was
Just
confusing.
I can see why you were confused, though.
I was looking at you like, what are you talking about?
Oh. Okay. Well, cool.
We're going to be
Well,
out
this
of
is
town.
normal then.
Mm-hmm. So Mike used to live in Belize.
Mm-hmm.
So for his 40th, we're going back to Belize with another couple, and we're super duper excited.
Yeah, we are super excited. It'll be super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yep. It'll be great. So,
I'm very excited.
So when you're listening to this, just think of us in Belize. If you've been there before, amazing. And if you haven't, I mean, maybe you should add it to your list.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll be out at San Pedro Island. So if you're going to Belize next week, or if you're in Belize right now, as you listen to this,
Come say hi.
San Pedro. Yeah, say hi.
Yeah.
We'll be zipping by in our golf cart.
Yeah. Or dune buggy golf cart.
Yeah.
It's got like sand tires.
And rims. It's weird.
That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's happening in life? Anything happening in life?
Oh, no.
I don't think so.
Nope. Nothing.
Just stuff.
Just nothing. But I bet you're going to ask me a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. I'm anxious, actually. I really want to get one of these right.
Okay. What city do we live in?
No, one of your questions leading into the... I know. I'll get that one right.
Oh, I thought you just wanted a question to get right. Sorry.
No, like when you ask me the question and then also what do you think I'm going to talk about? I really want to get one right.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Anthony, what do you think we're going to talk about today?
I have no idea.
You should have prepped yourself.
I know, but I really want to get
Had
one
an
right,
answer.
so I have to get into your brain.
Okay.
Okay.
My brain is open. I'm sending you brainwaves.
We talked about a weird band, kind of musicians. I don't even know what to call them.
Doctor Who. Hey,
someone doing
Doctor
like
Who.
urban explorations.
Oh, I love urban exploration videos.
That's why I said that.
But I don't have any today.
Oh, darn.
But they are my favorite videos.
So we're not talking
So you
about...
know I've stumbled upon lately in the YouTube rabbit hole algorithms that I watch. Scary encounters while camping.
That's a very bad idea.
It's
we do a
pretty-
lot of camping.
It's pretty crazy.
Don't ever tell me.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to know.
Most of them aren't nearly as bad as like people like are freaking out. It's like, it's probably just an animal or something, you know? And some of them I'm like, that's totally fake. Like,
Well, and I guess it depends on if you're in a tent or a camper.
oh, these are all tent, mostly
Yeah.
solo camping.
Yeah. Oh, gee. Who would do that? I would never. I've done solo camping one time, but I had my dog.
It actually
still.
looks amazing to me.
But I had my dog.
Yeah.
Is that
I would
considered?
take my dog
Is that
too. A lot of people
considered
have their
still
dog with
solo
them.
camping?
Yeah.
Okay, then I could handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
But
totally.
that's funny. Sometimes these people are like, it's like 2 a.m. and someone's
Rustling.
or like walking by with a flashlight. And granted, they are in like the middle of nowhere, so they don't expect other people. But still, it's like, well, they're not like talking to you or doing anything. They're just walking by. Like
That's
maybe
not
they're
so
just
bad.
taking a leak, and you just didn't expect to run into someone else out there. And some of them are legitimately terrifying.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be too far out.
There's
on
one
my
really
own.
scary one outside of Cleveland. Go figure.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway, I don't want to know about them, so
But
don't
yeah,
talk about them. Okay,
that's my
so
latest.
are we close? Was I close? Not even close.
Urban exploration. No,
No.
not even
Okay.
close.
Okay, well, ask me the question that leads into it. See if I can understand what we're talking
Okay,
about.
okay. We're gonna talk about a gal today.
Oh, but you didn't ask me a question.
I have to set this up to ask you the question.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna give you a fact first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me think of a question to ask you. What can I ask you to lead us into this?
Normally you do.
I know. Do I normally?
Yeah.
Yeah, normally I do. Okay. What do you think about... here's a question for you. Okay. What's the longest you've ever ran?
A half marathon?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah. That's the longest I've ever run.
Yep.
And probably the longest I will ever run again in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
I know there's a lot of good people out there that like think that marathoning is awesome. My dad being one of them. He's actually moved, I think,
Yeah,
more
he
so.
hasn't ran a marathon in a long time.
Right. It's not my jam. I did the half marathon. It was amazing. I trained for it. It's just too monotonous. I think I'd rather, push myself in even like a hike or something. I think I could push myself really hard in that because the vistas and the views and the,
I love hiking. Well,
yeah.
I don't hate. No, that's not the right word at all. And we might have talked about this before. I think I'm done backpacking.
Oh, yeah. You don't love that.
I don't want to.
Have a giant
Right.
everything.
I think from now on, I want to like get up,
have it
be
home
on a
base.
trailhead at like 4 a.m. You can hike till like 8, 9 at night. That's fine. Like you could put in a crazy day, but I just want to carry food and water. I don't want to carry in my house and my toilet paper and meals and utensils and fire stuff and chair. I don't want to carry all that. Sleeping bag.
So what you want to do
Just a day
is have
pack.
a home base.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could hike up, have a home base, then hike from there, come back and home base.
Yeah, as long as I could always leave from the same spot.
Right.
And try different areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah. I don't need a 40-pound bag anymore.
No.
No, I don't need that. Which I think the longest I've ever ran.
Probably a half marathon.
Probably a half marathon. I've definitely ran longer than that a few times in training for half marathons, but not by much.
Yeah, I don't think I ever ran longer than the half marathon in training for the half marathon.
Yeah.
I think I ran the half marathon before.
I think I ran 15, 16.
Definitely not me.
But, yeah, I like running. Kind of.
Kind of.
There's some days when I like running. There's some days where I'm going to go for a run. And then after like 3/4 of a mile, I'm like, this is not that day.
Yeah. And
I do
again,
love walking.
like a 5K is fine. You know what I mean? Like that's totally fine. Or even pushing it to like a 5 mile. But other than that, I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, today we're going to talk about a gal by the name of Danelle Ballengee.
Did she like to run?
She did like to run. So in 2003, she was named Sports Illustrated the world premier female endurance athlete.
Interesting.
So what do you think you need to do to earn the title of the world premier female endurance athlete from Sports Illustrated?
Run a really long way at a really decently fast pace.
Lots of times.
Yeah. Multiple times.
So this is what she did. This is kind of her resume.
Okay.
Prior to 2003. She had competed 7 times in the Ironman World Championships.
Wow.
And she had won it 3 times.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive.
That's amazing.
She had competed twice in the ITU long distance duathlon World Championships.
Okay.
I didn't know what this was, so I had to look it up. So this is an endurance race in the mountains of Switzerland.
Ooh. Where
you run for about 10 kilometers, bike 150 kilometers, and then run about another 30 kilometers.
Wow. That's a lot.
The mountains of Switzerland are not flat.
I think by definition, if you're going to call it a mountain, it is not flat. But I could be wrong.
Just helping the people out there.
Okay. Like...
well, I'm just thinking like 10-kilometer run, 150-kilometer bike, and a 30-kilometer run. Like, that's not like crazy.
No, but
I mean, it's a lot crazy for the normal person, but...
Yeah. Mountains make that a lot more challenging.
But elevation definitely throws a twist in things.
I think of Lance.
And air...
quality. Or,
concentration. You know?
So I think of Lance.
Yeah.
Running mountains and whatever those things are that he...
It's like ultra marathons, up and down mountains.
But are they called an ultra marathon?
No.
They're like a...
Well, his that he's doing now are like... They're like hikes. Because they're like 4 days straight.
Yeah. They're like... No, not even a hike, because he's still kind of running like at a decently fast pace.
He's got to do like a 20-minute mile.
But he's like sometimes running it in the middle of the night.
Oh, always. Like,
yeah, like does he sleep?
Just sleep for like an hour and a half and then get back out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're called, but he crazy. And I know his wife listens to our podcast, so I'm like, man.
I still think it sounds fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just like...
I'd be way more into something like that than a marathon because it's like uber hiking. And the terrain you get to go on is amazing.
That's true. But I'm thinking of... what are those things you did in Montana? What are they called?
Spartans.
I mean, like, yeah, they sound fun until you rip your fingers off. And
I did that. Well, I didn't rip my fingers. Just ripped all the skin off my fingers.
Yeah, like down to like...
It was grody.
Oh, I was re-looking at pictures. I'm like, that was so nasty.
It was painful,
too. And then you retire. You're like, okay, I did it. I'm done. Kind of like the half marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, what's her name again?
Danelle Ballengee.
Ballengee? Mm-hmm. It's a fun last name.
It is a fun name.
Okay, let's hear what else
So
she
in
did.
1997, she was actually named the U.S. Duathlete of the Year.
Okay, so duathlete is run and bike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In 2006, she took 8th at the ITU Winter Triathlon World Championship, which is pretty impressive. You could jump in and take 8th in things that aren't your normal. So here's an interesting fact. They don't do swimming in the winter triathlon.
Obviously.
Or road biking. Yeah. So they do running, mountain biking, and cross-country skiing.
Fun.
Yeah, so not impressive just to jump in on someone else's stuff. And
You're saying
take
not
eighth.
impressive?
Or very impressive, sorry.
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
She also competed in what was called the Eco Challenge.
Okay.
So that is a team race that's nonstop, 24 hours a day, over a rugged 300-mile course where you have to do tons of different disciplines. So like whitewater canoeing, horseback riding, sea kayaking, scuba diving, mountaineering.
Whitewater canoeing?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that was a thing.
You're not hardcore enough.
Wow.
Camelback riding and mountain biking.
Camel? Like you're actually riding a camel?
Correct.
Where are you doing this at? Like the zoo?
In the zoo, yep. Remember when we did that marathon in the zoo?
I do.
It was like that, only you're riding the camels.
I mean, really though, where is a person riding a camel?
So they do these all over the world.
So obviously she's somewhere where camels live?
I would assume so. This
is awesome.
Yeah. So the teams are mixed. It's a mandatory mixture of men and women. It's teams of 4. So she won that with her team.
She's a good camelbacker?
I guess so. Maybe you don't have to do all the events. Like maybe other people can do some parts of it. I
think
know.
I'd be a good camelbacker.
Yep.
Have you seen how funny they run?
Mm-hmm.
Their feet like go, but then you would just wedge yourself in between the 2 humps and you're stuck there.
What if you're on a unihump?
Nah, there's no such thing. You're not a camel if you're a unihump.
I don't think camel has to be bi-humped.
I mean, like you're wedging yourself between the neck and the hump, or where do you
Could
sit?
be.
I don't know.
On a unihump, that might be true.
You don't sit on the hump.
Well, no, on a bi-hump, you'd sit between them, like a saddle.
Obviously.
But I'm saying if you had a unihump.
Then you sit between the hump and the neck?
I guess so, because if you sit behind the hump, ooh, good luck.
Oh, camels are so funny.
Yeah. She also participated in what was called Primal Quest, which was like the Eco Challenge, but on steroids.
And you swing on ropes like monkeys.
Probably. So you can look up what a Primal Quest is if you want, but she won that too.
How does she win everything?
She's amazing.
Is she on steroids?
She's the world premier female endurance athlete.
Is she on steroids?
I don't think so.
Wow.
She doesn't look like she's on roids.
Okay. Wow.
This next one's the most impressive of all of them, though.
Okay.
She climbed all 54 of Colorado's 14,000-foot peaks in 14 days.
I don't understand. Mathematically. Okay.
Well, some of them are right next to each other.
So she has 54 peaks
Mm-hmm.
that are over 14,000 feet in elevation.
Mm-hmm. So far, so good.
In 14 days?
Yep.
So she is like racing.
She's cruising.
I mean, Dad,
Now,
this
some
guy,
of those,
this lady is going to be your idol.
Some of them you might get to like, let's say it's 14.2, and then the next peak is maybe like, 14.7. You just drop into like 13 to get back up to the other one,
But I mean, I know my dad listens to this, so I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
he's going to like love this lady.
Yeah.
He's going to want to be like this lady.
Don't be this lady. Be yourself, Dale.
Okay, that's crazy. She obviously didn't sleep? Or what?
I don't know.
Mathematically, though,
The story is not about her 14 days of climbing mountains.
I know, but I can't get over that. Okay, keep going. Keep going. I don't even know what the story is about. Keep going.
So that's why she was the world premier female endurance athlete, because she can do stuff like that.
Well, I'm going to be the next one.
I mean, I have a hard time walking it in the driveway sometimes.
Don't admit that out loud.
It's a long driveway.
It's not that long.
I'm kidding. I've never, ever been tired walking in the driveway.
I sure hope not.
But sometimes I get tired walking up the hill in the backyard.
Yeah, that hill is legit.
Yeah.
That you're allowed to be tired.
I don't think Danielle would get tired walking up the hill.
Not even close.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even phase her.
So where do you think someone like this lives?
Like on the top of a mountain.
Where would you want to live if you were such as, I mean, you have your training all the time. You're like super cool, mega woman.
In the mountains of Colorado?
Colorado would be a very good spot.
Yeah.
So she doesn't live in Colorado. Where else would you live? What's another good spot?
Like Banff.
Banff would be good if you were Canadian, but she's from the United States of America.
In the Pacific, like here in Washington, there's lots
Washington,
of great
yeah.
mountains.
Those are all great choices, I think.
California?
She lived in Moab.
Oh, they have good slick rock.
They do have good. What's a slick rock?
Like a rock that's big,
It's the place you go tanning.
that's slippery. No, the slick rocks that you go mountain biking on with the weird tires. My dad also likes to do. That's what slick rocks are.
Oh, I know what slick rocks are.
Why are you asking me?
Because we're going to talk about them, so I'm letting you.
Oh. Is that where she trains? Is on the slick rocks? Oh.
She goes out in the desert and runs all over the place. And
Wow.
so, I mean, Moab would be a good place if you want to be an endurance runner.
But that's kind of like also not really mountain climbing, like boulder. I mean,
That's true. But a lot of her races aren't mountain climbing.
I guess that's true. But still, the peaks are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I'm hung up on those.
It'd be pretty. Well, the peaks, yes. So if you don't live in the United States or aren't familiar with Moab, it is a giant, beautiful desert in southern Utah.
But kind of like, not like...
It's a red stone.
But like big, huge, like...
arches and cool geographic formations.
Yeah.
Not like cactus and... I'm sure there are
Not
some
like
of that stuff.
Arizona
Right.
kind of type desert. It's a little different. Yeah, but it's...
And not like New Mexico when you
No.
want to like just die because it's so boring.
No, it's not like that. Well, I don't really know good enough. I can't say that. For those New Mexico
Or like
listeners, it
West
could be amazing.
Texas.
I don't know. That was a good face. Moab's beautiful. Anyway, okay,
Yeah.
so she lives in Moab.
So that's where she lives. Because it's a great place to train for this kind of stuff.
I mean, it wouldn't be the greatest that I would think of for all the things. I mean, how do you find a camel in Moab?
There's probably not a lot of camel training anywhere in the U.S.
That's kind of what I was thinking. It was like, how do you even know how to ride a camel?
I don't know.
Okay.
Good
So anyway,
thought.
she trains in Moab.
So December 13th, 2006,
Okay.
she decides, like pretty much every day of her life, to go for a run. Because you have to.
Okay.
If you're that freaky.
Yeah. Every day.
So she drives out, parks her truck, at wherever, trailhead, whatever, a few miles from her house, puts on her running shoes, and grabs her 3-year-old dog named Taz. And she rescued Taz from the shelter when he was little. They're buddies. And they head out on a 2-hour trail run. Now remember, this is December. Now, when you and I go running, it's usually where?
Like our neighborhood?
Yeah. Like some nice paths or roads or things like that. But for Danielle, her runs were often through like wild landscape.
Yeah, just...
Like, okay, we're going to go here and we're just going to run over there for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Then we'll run back.
Yeah.
A little different.
I mean, yeah. That's a little different.
So on this particular day, her route was supposed to take her up an old Jeep road. Well, not supposed to. It did. It took her up an old Jeep road. And then she was going to scramble over some rocks on what is called
Slick rock.
a slick rock shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us again about slick rock?
I mean, it's hard to describe, but it's just like a big rock formation they're like...
It's like super weathered.
Right. They're very
Sandstone.
worn down. They're very slippery, and they're like bulbous. They're like rounded. They're not like sharp, jaggedy rocks. There's like...
She's making lots of hand motions
I don't know
that
how
you
to
guys can all see
describe them.
so well.
It's not like jaggedy. There's like a
It's very
smoothness, like, but almost like a waviness to the rocks. Like if you, I don't know, you would just slide right down the side. If you like got close to the edge of one, it would just like, I don't know. There'd be nothing to grip yourself or stop yourself really.
Right. So crazy enough, slick rocks are fairly slick.
Hence the name.
Yeah, it's not a misnomer.
No. Nope, it's real.
It's not like an ironic name.
Okay.
And they're also not named Grippy Rocks.
I'm nervous. Is she going to get hurt?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But we'll keep reading and see what happens.
Okay.
So on this particular December morning, as she's running, there was a thin layer of black ice on this slick rock shelf, making it an extra slick rock. Slick squared.
You're such a nerd. Slick squared.
Yes.
I feel like you're slick shoes.
Yes.
Like data.
Yes.
Data. From the
Slick
Goonies.
shoes. Do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do-do.
Punches the pow.
He's the best.
He is the best. And so her and Taz are running, and they're up. They're on this. It's a slick rock, but it's like a shelf.
Like up high.
It's up high. But it's not like a bulbous rock like you were describing. That's very true. Those are all over the place. But think of it like a long, almost like a platform of this slick rock. So she's jogging, and she hits this black ice. Now, what happens when you hit the black ice?
She slips.
She slips.
She falls.
She falls. So she falls on her butt. Not the end of the world. Except she starts sliding down the slick rock towards the edge.
Ooh.
Now, slick rock, as Ethne already said once earlier, you can't stop.
Nope.
Especially when it's icy. So she's sliding. She's picking up speed, coming towards the edge of the cliff.
Oh, gee.
Now, this would be pretty terrifying. Because you
There's
don't know what's on the other side of the edge of the cliff.
And there's nothing to grab
onto. Is it 50 feet? Yeah, there's absolutely nothing. It's just slick rock.
Oof. What a terrible feeling.
And so you know you're going to go over the edge, and you're just on your butt sliding, but you can't do anything about it. I mean, you can't stop. You can't grab anything. And so Danielle flies over the edge. Now, luckily, she lands on another shelf where she continues down before finally flying off the edge into a free fall. Now, the initial slide, when she landed on that second ledge, was about 40 feet. But the free fall was about 20 feet. It was like she slid down 40 feet and then went off a 20-foot cliff, essentially, which is about 6 meters, a little more than 6 meters for our international. That makes me think of that video we watched last night.
I need to send that to my family.
Yeah.
That was so
great. Saturday Night Live about George Washington being super happy about winning his freedom so he can have really bad measurements.
That make zero sense. I loved it.
It was good. I really appreciated it.
I was dying it. I say that kind of stuff all the time. After being Canadian and then living in the States, they make no sense.
Yes.
It's the greatest.
It was really good.
It was really good.
So as Danielle's free flying off this cliff. And when she lands literally on her feet.
Wow.
I mean, she doesn't stay on her feet, but that's what hits the ground.
Ooh.
Which is not a good way to... I mean, there's no good way to hit the ground when you're sliding that fast.
Oh, I don't want to know.
But she hits her feet kind of like a gymnast.
Just goes right over?
Yep. But it doesn't have as good a form as a gymnast landing, I
can imagine. Yeah. I'm feeling the pain.
So she hits the ground with incredible force, falls flat on her face.
Oh, dang.
Now she's lying there. At first, she doesn't feel any pain. And she literally wonders if she's dead.
Well, you're in shock, probably.
You're in shock,
body.
adrenaline.
Yeah.
She tries to get up. Obviously realizes she can't get up. But she also realizes her legs aren't paralyzed.
Well, that's...
there's movement.
That's good.
Yeah. So she looks down at her legs. And that's got to be the worst. When you've hurt yourself and like when you cut yourself or something, you're like, I have to look at this, but I know
I don't want to.
I don't want to look at this. Mm-hmm. Or when Oaksy broke his arm.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Our little guy broke his arm where it literally was completely broken,
just dangling.
Dangling. There was no bone connected to bone anymore.
It was,
and
terrible.
It was. Ugh.
I don't like thinking about it.
Yeah, me either. So she looks down, and she can see her pelvis is completely rotated.
Ooh.
Because when you hit your feet, I'm sure her femurs went right up into her pelvic girdle. And so her pelvis is completely rotated and it's fractured on both sides. What she can't see is that she'd also fractured 3 of her vertebrae.
Oh, my goodness.
And that her sacrum was split right down the middle. So essentially her pelvis is now in 4 pieces, sideways, with some cracked vertebrae. Now, the fall was only 20 feet, but she's about 60 feet from the trail, if it even was a trail. I mean, it's not a trail. It's just out where she is because she runs in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So, and it's December. And it's the desert, but it still gets cold in the desert.
Oh, for sure.
So she's not in a very good place right now.
But her dog.
She has a dog.
But is her dog going to help her?
So Taz... her 3-year-old dog runs around the ledge and comes down to her. And he stays with her as she's laying there.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
is he like barking?
At this point, I don't know. Like, he's probably like, hey, let's go.
We need to teach our dog the command to bark. Like, bark.
Bark.
So that you can save me.
Remember that one time she pulled one of our kiddos just like naturally in the water?
Yeah. Like she came up to them and like, yeah.
Well, they weren't drowning or anything.
No, but it's like she knew
Yeah.
that she could come by and grab their collar and she could pull him. I know.
It's pretty cool. She's a big lab. So she's got the muscles to do it.
And she loves water.
She loves the water.
But at the same time, that's a good command.
That's a good command.
Yeah.
Like, save.
Well, bark is good enough. Save is kind of very, very vague.
Go drive my car back.
Yeah. It's a little too broad.
That's too
probably.
much? Okay. Mabel could do it.
I mean, she could bark.
Yeah. So Danielle's 4 miles from
like
the trailhead.
Yeah.
She's 4 miles in on her run when this happened. She's fallen she's fallen 20 feet, but she's 60 feet, 18, 19 meters from the top of the ravine. She can't see the top of the ravine. So even if someone came by, it's not like a direct line of sight from, because of that 40-foot shelf and then the drop.
Oh, I'm in pain for her.
Yeah. Here's the lesson of all lessons that we all know from our mothers, but we don't do. She hadn't left a note for anybody.
Of course.
Because she does it all the time, right? Like, this is just her daily, this is like her job. Like, she got up and went to work.
Lesson of all lessons. Tell somebody.
Tell somebody.
Tell somebody.
Now, again, this is 2006. Nowadays, like,
find my friends, find my phone.
You had a phone on you or something. If someone, you'd have to be known you were missing.
Exactly.
But it'd be pretty easy to
find you. Hopefully.
If you had reception.
And your phone wasn't smashed.
True. Like your pelvis.
Yeah.
So, she hadn't left a note for anybody. She hadn't told anyone where she was. She's single. But she knew the sun was going to set in a couple hours because that's what happened in the wintertime. And the temperatures were going to drop to the low 20s or about -6 Celsius.
That's cold.
That's cold. It's not like the coldest, but you can't move your legs.
Cold.
Oh, it's more than uncomfortably cold.
Mm-hmm.
So she has tons of adrenaline going, right? Like it's still flowing. So she decides, I've got to literally drag myself out of here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So she starts army crawling.
Yep.
And dragging herself. It takes her 5 hours. Guess how far she gets in the 5 hours before the sun sets?
100 meters?
She's about a quarter mile.
I don't know.
So that would be like 400 meters.
Oh, that's
like one lap around the track.
Yeah, but that's way better than I thought. So
yeah. 5 hours to drag yourself around the track one time. I mean, she's got a long ways to go. How about that?
Sure.
But now the whole time Taz is staying with her. But the sun's setting and she's still out in the middle of the freezing desert.
Yeah.
So she's wearing running tights. She's got a thin base layer on. A polypro top. Don't really know what that means, but some kind of running top.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. A thin fleece shirt over her top. And she had on fleece hat and gloves. This I thought was interesting. She also had a shower cap with her.
Why did she have a shower cap?
So she said for those crazy big long races she does, they would put shower caps over their hats to trap the heat in.
Oh.
And so she always just had, in the wintertime, she would run with a shower cap like in her pocket.
Interesting.
In case it got cold or whatever. So she doesn't have much as far as layering go. Definitely nothing for -20.
No, not -20.
-6, sorry.
-6.
20 degrees. That's a rough night. That's a cold night.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very cold night. So she had dragged her body up to a puddle. She'd found a small puddle that was frozen. And so she smashed, with her fist, broke through it to get some water. Mm-hmm. But she's very smart. So she fills her bottle up, but she purposely only drinks like a smidgy bit of water. Can you think why?
Yeah. If it is contaminated. the less contaminants.
Well, that's
you get in
definitely
your
true.
body.
The last thing you need to do is violently throwing up
Right.
while you have
A broken pelvis.
Yeah.
That and or I mean the sediment, like if you try not to get that sediment up, you would just drink like the top layer a little bit.
Those are really good reasons or thoughts you have. Her rationale was this. She didn't want to have to pee because she knew if she peed, she would freeze to death probably because she can't go anywhere.
Oh.
So if she pees in the middle of the night in 20-degree weather, that's
But
just,
she needed enough.
but she needs to give,
hydrated.
right, a little bit. Well, that's pretty dang smart. I don't know if I would have thought about that.
I mean, you're also not. What's her title? What's her claim to
World's
fame?
awesomest person?
Yeah,
The world premier female endurance athlete.
yeah. You're not her
Most definitely not.
or that.
Nope. I'm not even a woman, let alone one that's really good at endurance sports.
Exactly.
So she's got a little bit of water, but she doesn't want to pee and freeze,
Yep.
which is good. But she knew that if she stopped moving, she would probably fall asleep and die of hypothermia.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
So your lower half is essentially completely broken.
Mm-hmm.
It's freezing cold.
You've got to be in pain.
You got to be in pain. But you can't stop moving either.
Right.
Because you know if you stop moving,
You'll fall
you're
asleep.
going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you do?
Just tiny movements.
Mm-hmm. So that's what she did.
Tiny.
She essentially did a crunch every 3 or 5 seconds. Like a little sit-up.
Yeah. I wonder if she should try to move herself still somewhere, like every time instead of just a crunch.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So she says, this is a quote. She says, I stayed up all night rubbing my hands, tapping my feet, and doing crunches. Taz curled up with me and tried to keep me warm.
Aww.
Yeah. Another cool thing about Taz is he would not drink her water.
Like her
that
puddle?
little puddle. Yeah. It's like he knew.
Like you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so she would talk with her doggy and move ever
Honestly.
so slightly.
Dogs are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she spent the whole night talking to him, telling him that she was hurt and like maybe he could go get help. But he didn't go get help. He comforted her and he stayed with her, but he didn't go get the car.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did a lot of good things.
He did a lot of good things.
Yeah. For being a dog and doesn't actually speak the same language.
Any language, really. That I know of.
Well, yeah. They bark.
Only if you teach them.
No, I mean like to each other.
Yeah, Mabel only barks when someone comes to the door.
That's true.
She's very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
So as the sun rose in the morning, she knew she needed to get to her car.
Yeah.
But at this point now, the adrenaline had finally worn off.
Oh yeah, so much pain.
If she moved an inch, just excruciating pain.
Yeah.
But she did say if she didn't move, she was relatively comfortable. There wasn't a lot of pain just laying still. But if she tried moving at all, torture.
Right, but I mean, yeah. Ooh.
And it's hard to get somewhere if you don't move at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what she decided to do was just scream for help. So she'd scream and then she'd wait for a little bit, see if anyone would respond, scream, wait for a response, scream, wait for a response. And she did that the entire time the sun was up. All day long.
Oh my gosh.
But again, nobody ever came. And the sun began setting again on the second night. And she knew that once again she was going to have to stay awake and keep warm if she wanted to live.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine trying to keep myself awake. Like, I can't keep myself awake in a normal night.
Yeah.
I'm like eating things and drinking things and moving
you
around.
would be uncomfortable and you would be cold.
I think you'd be so uncomfortable and cold and tired. You'd be just like, I just want to close my eyes and die. Like,
Emotionally drained.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's...
But she had a very, very, very strong will to live. Like, she really did not want to die in that desert.
Well, obviously. Yeah. I mean, if she lived to tell the story
Oh, no, she wrote these things down.
while she's in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, let me just whip out my pen
Yeah.
and my paper
Yeah.
because I thought I might fall off this huge ledge.
Yeah, she's ready.
Okay.
So she says this on her notepad that she had with her, miraculously. I wanted so badly to live. I wasn't ready to die. I thought about my life, my family, and my friends, and how much they meant to me. I wanted to tell them all how much I loved them. Those thoughts were so strong. I didn't really feel pain when I was lying there. All I wanted to do was survive. And I can imagine, like, if I was out solo camping and I fell in a ravine or something, I could see my drive of wanting to see you one more time.
Right.
Like being very
Motivating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So with that being
For
said,
the
though,
kids.
you would think the whole next day there was someone that would be like, hey, this is weird. I haven't heard from Danielle, well,
Right.
and try to figure out what happened or where she was. Don't you think?
Yeah. So funny you say that.
Okay.
So as that sun's setting that second night,
Oh, good.
and she's out there preparing to do her crunches and toe taps or
Because my
finger
heart
strips,
is like aching right now.
her next door neighbor realizes like, the sun's down. All of her lights are on in her house. The blinds are open. The computer's on. But I haven't seen, like, something's weird. Like, her house never looks, at night you shut
Yeah.
your house down, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And this would have been the second night that this had
Right.
happened, right?
and so this neighbor calls Danielle's parents, and they instantly are like, no, something's wrong. Or maybe they go over and check the house out, whatever. But search and rescue gets set up to go out and look for her the next morning.
Good. The next morning,
Mm-hmm.
you don't wait. Nighttime's the crucial time.
Yep, that's true. Okay, they went out right then.
Well, that's what they should do.
But no one knows where out there is.
But they could assume. I mean, if they know who she is and anything about her, they're going to know she's in the middle of nowhere.
Well, right, but who knows? There's probably 50,000 trailheads you could start off at. Like,
Yeah.
which one did she drive to? Where's she at?
Yeah.
And so they do go and kind of look everywhere. But now they have started hunting for her.
Did she endure the whole second night?
So things are far worse for Danielle than she knows, though. Because not only is she laying there trying to keep her blood pumping, she's also bleeding heavily internally.
I figured as much.
And by that second night, she'd already lost about a third of her blood.
Oh my gosh. I'm
And
terrified.
so she's definitely on the clock, and she doesn't even know it. Like,
I'm sure you could feel it though.
well, you think you'd start just getting like weaker and weaker and weaker
Totally.
and weaker. So she makes it through the second night.
Wow.
Sun rises. Now at this point, Taz really starts realizing like something's wrong. Like my owner doesn't ever not move. And
We're going all the time.
I haven't been fed in a couple days, and we're sitting here still in the desert.
And I'm still here.
Yeah, like something's not right. And so he just takes off, and he runs the 4 miles back to the trailhead.
Wow.
And when he gets to the trailhead, he turns around and he runs back. And he comes back to Danielle, and he licks her face, and he turns around and he runs back.
Wow.
Doesn't drink water, doesn't eat. He's just
like, I got to
back
do
and
something.
forth, back and forth,
Yeah.
back and forth. 8-mile round trip every time.
That's, I can see Maple doing that.
Maple can put in some miles in.
Yeah,
That girl
she would
runs.
love it.
Yeah. Actually, today, when I saw the girls in the go-kart, she could not stay with me. Like, she would shoot across the
Oh,
field
she-
to go chase the girls
yeah.
down and then
She
come running
just-
back.
Yeah,
and-
she has to.
Even though she's not even her people.
Nope.
But she knows Jovi and
Oh,
Sadie.
yeah.
And, so by noon, Danielle is starting to go in and out of consciousness. And she's starting to accept the fact that she's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she can't keep her eyes open. She can't do anything. Taz comes back one more time. She thinks it's probably the last time she's going to see him. Still alone. But this time he acts a little differently. Instead of coming and licking her face, he goes straight to the puddle and starts drinking her water. And for Danielle, one is the first time he's drinking any of her water this whole time. But this was, to her, kind of the final straw. It kind of sends her into a little bit of like a depression, because she thinks either Taz hadn't understood that she needs help, and he just finally got bored, has been running around the desert, doing whatever dogs do. Or he hadn't found anyone, and that now he's given up too, and so he's drinking water. But just a few moments later, she hears what she thinks is an engine.
Does she start screaming?
But maybe she's also thinking like, well, maybe I'm just making this up. Like it's the wind, and
right.
I'm just imagining
Did she
this.
just start screaming?
So, but the engine keeps getting louder and louder. And so until it stops, at which point Danielle screams out one more time. Then a man's voice replies to her. And she says, "I'm here for you." Now, if it were me, I would think like, I'm dead.
Yeah. I'm going to the other side.
This is someone coming to usher my soul away.
Yes.
But then he says, you have one good dog there. And so on the last run, as Taz arrived at the trailhead at about noon, was just about the exact same time that the search team had found her truck. And at first they didn't know like who this dog was and why it was running around, literally biting them. And like you have to come with me.
Come with me.
But I assume her mom or someone was with her, and they recognized Taz.
Oh yeah.
And so they hopped in their ATVs and they followed Taz the 4 miles back out into the desert, and he took her right to Danielle.
Wow.
So it was cool. That's why he finally got the water. Like he was finally comfortable enough to realize, oh, I got help. We're gonna get out of here.
And
I can now have some water. Yeah. I did my job.
Oh.
And so Danielle was airlifted out of the canyon. She spent 3 weeks in the hospital and 3 months in a wheelchair.
Wow.
But did fully recover.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, huh?
Whew. How much internal blood loss by the time she got there?
Yeah, so interesting. Good question. So the doctor said that most people can live for about 8 to 12 hours on the amount of blood that she lost.
But
somehow it would kill them that fast. And she lasted 56 hours.
Wow.
And they said it's 100% because of your physique.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just you're in such good shape. And a lot of luck.
Dang.
Yeah. 8 to 12 hours. You and I would be dead by nightfall.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So, also the night, so she was taken out, that afternoon. That night, the canyon got dumped on with snow.
Oh, my
So,
God.
I mean, that definitely was her last
chance. Wow.
Yeah. Interesting enough, though, she's back participating in endurance events. She was the first woman in the 2013 Moab Triathlon.
She's just a go-getter.
She's now married, has 2 small boys.
Wow.
If you're ever in Moab, and I don't know how accurate this is still, but her and her husband own a 50-style diner called Milt's Stop and Eat.
Oh.
So if you're ever down there biking, I know we have a lot of friends that bike down there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you see that place, that's her place.
Wow. That is quite the story.
She puts on an event there every year. It's a trail marathon and half marathon that goes literally right over that same slick rock shelf.
Ugh, I would want to stay far, far away from that shelf.
And they've named the canyon Taz Canyon.
Oh, the good dog.
Good dog. Dogs are good that way.
They are. They're just intuitive. They're just smart, man.
It's amazing. Like he
really
stayed with her until he knew, like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Like if we stay here,
right,
we're gonna die. I mean, he probably wouldn't, but he's like, you're gonna die,
right? And
I know that. I can, sense it, smell it, whatever it is. I got to figure out how to get you help. I mean, it's amazing that he knew the trailhead.
Yeah.
Especially if she runs kind of different ways every time, but obviously she parks in the same similar spot probably.
And I'm sure he goes on every run.
But still, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Thank goodness she had her dog.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully she's never gone anywhere without writing a note.
Mm-hmm.
Just like naming the trailheads. Like, I'm over here. I'm over here.
But also just think how, like, what if the search and rescue had gotten there half an hour earlier or later? Like, Taz is still running back and forth, but there's no one there when he gets there.
Right.
Like, just so many things how to fall in line just perfectly.
For sure. Yeah. Good point.
But it happened. It's crazy.
So happy for her.
Yeah.
That she got saved.
She got lived.
Mm-hmm. Whew.
Craziness.
Yeah, that is a crazy story.
Crazy story.
But I like it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I like it because she was okay.
Yeah, you like when people don't die. Lincoln will be very disappointed in this story.
No, he will like it.
He'll like it because there's a dog.
Yeah.
It'll redeem it for him.
Yeah, he loves a doggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, for anyone out there who does adventuring or anything, just leave a note.
And take a dog.
Generic. And take a dog.
That likes you.
Yes.
That's a real dog.
Not like a Shih Tzu.
If it's in your purse, yeah, it's not going to help you any.
It could bark. They're really yippy.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you could eat it, I guess, if
Ew.
worse came to worse.
You're so gross. And he's totally kidding for all of you people out there with little dogs.
Totally.
He's kidding.
So kidding. Yep.
Yep.
So, alrighty. Well, I think we're going to get out of here.
Okay.
We'll be back in a week or two. Probably 2. But who knows? Keep it on your toes.
You like to spice it up.
That's right. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful day, evening, whatever time it is, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.